Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Lessons in Leadership. For those of you who are new here today, our wonderful host, Dermot Buffini, is the CEO of Buffini Company, the largest training and coaching company in North America. Buffini Company holds a very unique position in the marketplace. They lead more agents and they coach more and train more brokers than any other company in the real estate industry. They've had a major impact on our industry, and they've trained and coached more than 3 million professionals in 41 different countries. They've helped millions of agents, brokers, managers, and owners not only build great and lasting businesses, but they also help them build fulfilling lives. Dermot has been recognized as an RISMedia newsmaker, a finalist for the San Diego Business Journal's CEO of the Year, and under his leadership, the San Diego Union Tribune has recognized Brian Buffini Company as one of the top workplaces in San Diego. We're honored to have Dermot here today, and we'll be talking leadership and insight with an industry legend of Jim Fite, who's led his company for many years, which is 85 years young today. So let's give a warm welcome to Dermot Buffini and Jim Fite.
Well, good morning, John. How are you? Happy New Year. Good morning, Jim.
Hey, Dermot.
Great to see you guys. It's not too late to say Happy New Year, is it?
No.
Good. Well, it's great to be doing our first Lessons in Leadership of the year today. We have a great conversation lined up for you today. A great leader. Who I'm trying to bring to you guys is people who have been there, done that. People who haven't just been successful for a week or a month or a year, but people who've been successful have longevity of success, and not just success, but obviously leadership. And I want to introduce Jim here in a second, but Jim is the CEO of Century 21 Judge Fite Company in Dallas-Fort Worth area. They have been in business for the past 85 years, started in 1937, celebrating 85 years this year. They have survived over 14 presidencies, 12 different recessions, a multitude of interest rates, changes in the marketplace, and they've been successful. And they haven't just been successful in the profitability of their company, the growth of their company, but the principles that they run their company by is what I'm really, really interested in, because they run with heart and they serve their community, and they do it in such a way that they're just a focal point of the community and influencers. Jim, you're celebrating, I believe, 50 years in the real estate industry. You started when you're 18, so you're only a young fella.
Yes, sir.
We're delighted.
It won't be till March 1, though, Dermot.
What's that?
March 1 is my anniversary.
I'm sorry, you're only 49 years in the business.
49, 11 months and 2 days.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Jim. We want to dig into some of your experience, what you know about leadership, who you admire. We're just going to I don't know what your answers are going to be. I sent you the questions, but as people know who watch this, I want to be just like them. I want to learn from what you're going to say and just interact with you. And then I know we're going to answer some questions at the end here. I know John has a bunch of questions coming in online, and we're going to get through as many of those as we can. So that's the longest introduction you ever had in your life.
That's right. More than I wanted to hear.
Well, let me ask you this. How about your leadership story? Who are the people that you've admired? Who have you learned from?
I try to learn from everybody, because you can learn the good and the bad from people that you watch and read about and so forth. But if I had to go look at the national level and who I've really admired in the years that I've been on this earth, I got to go with Ronald Reagan on that one. Ronald Reagan not only was a great actor, but he took that great acting and brought it into the political world and leadership role of our country, and came into our country when we needed a hero on the politics side, in my opinion. And he really led the country and led it in a positive direction, and brought it out of some tough times that they were having before he came in. And we were proud to be an American again, and we as a people, I'll say it that way, we as a people, and I was pretty young back in those days. But looking back in history and all the presidents that I've been able to see out there and all the leaders, I got to put him way up the top.
Interesting. Yeah, his leadership style. So in his leadership style, if you're going to boil that down, what positivity, what else would stand out to you that resonated with
Communication.
you?
Communication. He was a master communicator. He didn't have to wonder what was on his mind, what he was thinking about. He was very decisive in his communication, and whether you agreed with him or not, you knew he was doing his best, and he was taking that power that he had, in my opinion, in a humble way as well. So I liked his humility along the way, and he had a sense of humor about the world and life. So he put all that together: communication, humbleness, and decisiveness, and yet collaborative. He did that as well. So I like that.
Yeah, and all those attributes are not contributed towards a political point of view. You're
No,
just
not
the
at all.
ingredients of that.
He's
And
a human.
yeah, and as you say that, I think humor is such a powerful thing. The man could make things light, and there was strength in that leadership, wasn't it? Dealing with difficult topics, and humor is important. I know in your mission and core values, it's to serve the community, develop people, have fun, and achieve profits. And I think those attributes that you're talking about there, that you'd identify in somebody else, they kind of support what your mission is.
Yeah. So for those of people out there that don't know, that is the mission of our company, mission statement of our company, and it has been, Dermot, for over 40 years. We developed that mission statement, gosh, like I said, over 40 years ago, and we did change it one time in 40 years, but I won't go into that. We don't have time for that today, but we did amend it a little bit one time. But my dad, you kind of did that segue with the have fun and humor. My dad used to say, if you can't have fun, why go? Why show up? Enjoy your world, enjoy your life, enjoy your business, enjoy your family, have fun in everything you do, even though it's not all fun to do.
I know it's not on our list. Talk to me about your dad. I mean, he's a character.
Yeah.
What did you learn from him? I mean, he started this in 1937. What would you say his legacy is in your world?
Well, of course, he was known by other people in our industry here in DFW as the Dean of Real Estate in Dallas-Fort Worth. Certainly had a great lady here in real estate as well, Eddie Holiday, who was a legend as well. But Dad, like you said, he was a character. He was able to communicate on a level that anybody could understand. He taught us we're no better than anybody else. We're no worse than anybody else. We all have a place on this earth. We all should treat each other with respect. And as I remember Dad, in a board of directors meeting at the National Association of Realtors or Texas Association or local, wherever he was, he would stand up and get the microphone. And of course, there was hush in the room. There was just hush. And he might take an opinion separate from where the mood was going, where the mass was going. But he'd give the other point of view, and then he'd sit down, and then he'd vote his heart in his head, and it may be what he talked about, it may not be. But he would turn and he'd say to my wife and I, because we were both sitting beside him one day, and he said, I just wanted to make them think. This train was going down the track, and nobody was thinking. They were just going along with the group rather than they need to think. And he gave me some great lessons on thinking, which we may or may not have time to get into.
Hey, let's go. Tell us about that.
Well,
it is people react. A lot of people operate out of their feelings. If they could start with the thinking, and then the beliefs, and then action, their feelings would change. Their feelings would be affected. So, tell me about that.
Well, you know, I graduated from high school a semester early, went off to college for a year, and came back and wanted to go in the real estate business at 18. And my mother and father took me out to dinner, great Mexican food restaurant. I'll never forget, you know, one of those powers of moments. If you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. Anyway, and Dad said, I'll let you quit college and go in real estate on two conditions. Number one condition is that you read, study, and think an hour a day, 5 days a week for the rest of your life. Read, study, and think an hour a day, 5 days a week for the rest of your life. And the second condition is that you will sit in a classroom 12 days a year as a student, because you never stop learning. If I'm going to let you quit college, which I did, by the way, I ended up teaching on the college level for 13 years of my life, but that's another story. Just for fun. That was my hobby at the time. Anyway, and I've been doing that, which I promised my dad I would do for now 50 years. I this morning was sitting out in our lobby and reading a book, and was thinking as I was reading that book. And you know, that's what I do pretty much every morning. But some mornings, Dermot, I got to tell you, it's 3 to 5 hours that I sit there and read, study, and think.
Wow. Read, study, and think.
An hour a day, 5 days a week.
I hope people are writing that down right now, because a lot of times, you know, we're in a world where people are thinking for us, and they're trying to tell us how to think. You know, I think, and again, for that story about your dad standing in front of an audience, to challenge their thinking, but to do it in a relational way, to do it in a way that connects. I think as leaders, if you're not thinking and you're just doing, you're going to end up in trouble. But I know, and again, I know more about you, and one of the reasons I wanted you to come on here, because I've enjoyed many breakfasts with you, chats with you, conversations with you, and I've learned from you. But let's talk a little bit. So what does it look like in the morning? Because I know you have some routines that support this. So I'm an early riser. You know, I'll wake up between 4:30, and 5 pretty much every morning. This morning, I think I slept in till 5:15. But yeah, that's my typical morning. This morning, I got up, and I got to tell you, I didn't have such a good routine last year going to the gym, but this year I'm back to the gym this morning, and did a little workout for about a half an hour, got dressed, and by the way, the gym's in where I live, and you know, I don't have to go outside or anything. So anyway, I actually office in the building I live in now as of November 1st. Kind of interesting for those realtors out there. A lot of our leadership has moved home. Well, my home is a 2-bedroom condominium, and my wife has had an office there for 14 years. So when I moved home, I didn't have a home. I didn't have a room to move into. So I've literally, where I am now, I'm in an industrious work center area. In other words, I have an office. I have use of conference rooms. They fix me breakfast every morning, and they bring in lunch sometimes, and happy hour on Thursdays. It's really a great deal. And I'm about the oldest guy on the whole floor here, so I get to meet a lot of young people. Anyway, my point is, this morning I came down stairs and went into the lobby here in the area, got a cup of coffee. And by the way, I make the coffee for the whole floor now because I'm the first one here in the morning. And, you know, I read this book that I'm reading now. Let me see the name of it. Everyday People, Extraordinary Leadership is what I'm reading this morning, and have been for the last week or two. 2 weeks, I guess. Everyday People. I'm writing notes here, by the way, folks. Okay. Everyday People.
Extraordinary Leadership.
And who's the author?
It is by James M. I can't pronounce his last name. Kouzes, and Barry Z. Posner.
All right, we'll find that. Yeah. Nice. Good stuff. So tell me this.
That's my morning.
What?
8 o'clock Zoom meeting with a real estate breakfast club I'm part of, and then worked for a couple of hours before I got on with you.
Well, you know, what a wise man your father was, and know what, and you've been disciplined in that, and that routine has been essential. You know, you have over 1,000 agents now.
Right. Yes, sir.
Um,
Another
over,
130 employees.
you know, it's a big operation. And you know, you putting yourself first, and if you're not thinking, if you're not reading, if you're not studying, and again, you know, I just think, you know, the culture of the company is in trouble because it's just reacting. Let me ask you this, because I know you're in a very different stage of your career, right? You are now still extremely active, growing, and also, you know, I hope people on this call don't kind of underestimate how competitive you are too, because you want to win and you need to. It's on here. It's like you got to be profitable. It's not just all, you know, holding hands, singing "Come By Us." It's not at all. That's the culture. There's a purpose to it. But you're in a different stage of your career where now it's about significance. Now it's about legacy. I know it has been for years about contribution, philanthropy, giving. I have met for breakfast with you where you've brought a young man from an inner city community with you to meet me for breakfast because you're championing. And it's just who you are. And so let me ask you this, you know, in today's world, what are you looking for in leaders? When you're looking at your team, what is it that you're looking for in people today? What attributes are you looking for?
Well, they've got to live up to our mission, you know, which you've already read. We have 5 core values, which is the foundation of our company. The mission is why we're in business. Our core values are the foundation. And we hire to our core values, we interview to our core values, we hire to our core values, we coach to our core values, we recognize to our core values, and we terminate to our core values, discipline and terminate. So it permeates through the entire organization, those 5 core values. And so someone in leadership must be on our team. I mean, you know, that's just the way it is. And they've got to understand who we are, you know, and that's from a personal perspective. You know, we're in all sorts of businesses, title, insurance, property management, very large property management company as well, and relocation, and on and on and on. Well, they've got to understand those core businesses are our business, and they've got to support those core businesses. Without those core businesses, we probably wouldn't be here today, Dermot. You know, you go through a recession, it's those core businesses that get you through it. And so I don't know if I answered your question or not, but I hope I did. The core values are critical in everybody that we affiliate with, not only leaders, but everybody.
So let me mirror back to you what I just heard you say, because I'm going to read the core values. What you look for in somebody is honesty and integrity. Honesty and integrity is your first one, and that means to always do the right thing. Dedication to our clients, profession, and community. So you're looking for a dedicated person who understands the importance of those 3 elements. World-class service, which I'll want to talk to you about here in a second, but at least that's a commitment as well. That's another commitment to a vision of, like, we want to be world-class, and it's through service. Commitment to be goal-focused and results-driven. That's pragmatic. That's bottom line. It's like, how do we know? That's the scoreboard. And then last but not least, it's disciplined. And it's disciplined to do our job at its best. Now, what I like about that is that's another commitment. It's not a statement of perfection. It's like, I can see how you can hold that. Did we do our best? Hey, how do we do on the goals? Hey, did we serve the person and do all we can? Dedication to our clients, profession, community. That's the trifecta for us. And then also, did you do the right thing? And I think, you know, you say you've got these multiple businesses that you've been able to grow. What I'm hearing is these are the ingredients that you sprinkle in to a business. You attract people to that. You train to it. You teach to it. You hold them accountable to it. And again, you know, I didn't ask you your core. You went to your core values through when I asked you, what do you look for in leaders? And I think, you know, you might have somebody who's not experienced in that, but they have those components. What I'm hearing you say is, That's what I look for, because you can grow a leader in that soil. You can train
Absolutely. So something I'm real proud of, you mentioned world-class service. You said you were going to come back to it, but I'll jump ahead to it. How's that?
do it. That's where I was going.
We survey all of our buyers and sellers, and we survey our IT department. We have a ticket system for our operations department, and on and on and on. We have tickets all over the place. And for years in a row, Dermot, our company has had a 98% quality service rating with our clients. And that's been our goal. We'd like 100, but 98% with a company our size, it's hard to please all the people all the time. That's what I've determined in life.
Yep.
So, but I am proud to tell you today, for the first time in history in 2021, we hit 99% quality service rating. That's just huge. That's just huge. And I don't know how many of your listeners here do quality service ratings and really hold themselves accountable, but we talk about it all the time. It's in our Let's Talk Real Estate meetings at a local branch level. It's in our leadership meetings, in our company updates that I do every month. It's our state of the company. So that's just real critical to our success, is to give that quality service to our clients. And I mentioned those other ticket systems. We implemented that about 3 years ago. And, IT department last year had a 100% quality service rating, and they're opening up about 1,200 tickets a month. And just so proud of our people that they recognize that core value and really work toward it.
Well, I think you're bringing up, and again, I was going to world-class service because, I really think we've been a bit of a crisis right now. And we've been having it for quite a while, where service is really, it's kind of leaking out of our culture. It's leaking out of businesses. It's something that at Buffini Company, we are on. Like, that is how we serve. That serving is how we sell. Serving is the experience we want to have. And I think, I really believe if you're as committed as you are to service, to measuring it, you are going to stand out. You're going to stand out because at the end of the day, people need to know, where do I go? One of the things we utilize, if you broke it down to our clients, if you want to know how your service is, how many referrals did you get last year? Because that's the ultimate expression of, appreciation, thankfulness, trust. When you're serving, you've talked about how you serve your clients, how you measure it. What does service look like to your agents?
Well, I guess this would be a good time to put a plug in for Buffini Company. I don't know why.
You can do whatever you like. Whatever.
I've been blessed to have y'all brought in, or y'all joined our company, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe longer, somewhere around that. And it made a significant difference in the service level that our agents were able to provide to their clients. Certainly, the Century 21 brand has done a great job in that, and Mike Beadler, president of Century 21, is a great leader. He's just a down-to-earth, go-getter young guy with a lot of enthusiasm, and he likes to get things done as well. So, today's service has all kinds of things. It has to do with training. It has to do with support. It has to do with culture. It has to do with technology. It has to do with marketing, branding, and communication is kind of the underlying theme of all of that. Because if you may have the best product in the world, but if you don't communicate that you have the best product in the world, what good is it? Right. So the communication aspect and staying in touch with your people, and of course the last couple of years, I don't know if we'll get into that or not, it doesn't matter to me. Communication with your people through what we've been through and what we're going to go through. We're not done yet. There's something else is going to happen. But communication is just key, and it builds that culture. And I love what John said about Buffini Company in the intro, that y'all are one of the best places to work in San Diego. Well, we got the daily double, I guess, because we were, for the first time in history, the #1 company to work for in Dallas-Fort Worth. Both in the Dallas Morning News, they run the program like San Diego does, and the Dallas Business Journal. No other company in history has ever won #1 in both of those categories. We did it last year. Now we got to do it this year. So thanks for letting me get that in. I'm not sure that had anything to do with the question, but I got it in.
No, it has everything to do with the question, because congratulations, by the way.
Thank
because
you.
I know that's
Thanks to our people.
Yeah, I know, but I know that's not your goal. Your goal is not primarily that. That's a byproduct of doing the things. Here's what, none of this stuff happens by accident. Plug and Buffini Company, we're one of the things you train. We're one of the things, you've made an investment as an organization. You made it for yourself. You make it as an organization. It doesn't happen by accident. That investment is essential. I know there's a number on your P&L and your budget every year that is connected to that investment. And it's also the easiest thing that can go away in a budget. It's the thing that people and individuals sacrifice, it's businesses will sacrifice, and it's the very lifeblood of inspiring people, challenging people, living out your core values. So I'm not asking how much, but I know you make a significant investment. It doesn't happen by accident, does it?
No, sir. I'll just leave it at that.
Let's leave it at that. But here's what so let me ask you this, and it's not on our sheet, but I'm curious. We've got agents on here, we've got teams, we have leaders of big companies, we've got what would you recommend is a good investment for you to make in yourself, in your leadership, that you would recommend right now, or things that you would, what advice would you give for an investment?
Well, narrowing down to one thing is, I think, impossible. I just made a grocery store list of training, and you got to hire the right people, and you got to pay them well. We have people on our leadership team that have been with us over 20 some odd years. And by the way, they're still effective. Let me make that really clear too, or they wouldn't be there. Training definitely is the foundation. If you don't have well-trained people, whether that's your real estate professionals or your staff, we process thousands and thousands of checks every year, and there might be 2 of them in a year that go awry out of
pretty good
thousands. I mean, the systems that you invest in, the technology you invest in that nobody pays any attention to until what? It's broken. And then they pay. It's kind of like the copy machine. As long as that copy machine makes a copy, everybody's happy. But boy, when it doesn't make a copy, everybody is not scanning today. Nobody's happy when that happens. Well, all that was an investment in that technology. Certainly training, you got to get the right people with the right mindset. They've got to have that servant heart, and I know that's used a lot in leadership. But it's really, in my opinion, part of that thing we look for is, are you here for you, or are you here for the people you're serving? Same thing with a realtor, by the way. Are they here for themselves? I'm going to get rich quick, or am I going to get here? I told an agent yesterday that we were trying to attain. I said, when you stop looking at the money and start looking at your clients, your money will come tenfold.
Yep.
It'll come tenfold. And you've got to get over that hump, because until you do, you're going to be chasing the dollar bill, and it won't come. Yeah. And it may come in a spurt, but it won't come for the long term. Anyway.
Absolutely. No, it's good stuff. What I'm hearing there is invest in the things you value. Invest in the outcomes you want to achieve. And what I would say to people on here, it's like, it doesn't have to be $1 million. It's not. You're investing your time every morning by reading, studying, and thinking. You're investing your time in 12 days a year in a classroom, learning something. The great news is we've got so much information, so much content, but at the same time is, what is the outcome you want to achieve with that investment? Is it service? Is it finding great people? Is it great experience for the clients? But then also, what do you need to invest in yourself, your time, your energy, and your resources in, so you become more as a leader? So that's kind of what I heard.
Well, let me say that you a few minutes ago you talked about giving, and we kind of stayed on business rather than the philanthropy part. But we've, Century 21 has been raising money for Easter Seals for a long, long time. And when we joined that system, we got on the bandwagon, and we've been the #2 company in the country, or in the world, I guess, of raising money for Easter Seals for years. And back in 2017, we developed the Judge Fite Charitable Foundation. And so proud. If I have any legacy at all, Dermot, I hope that's it. Because it was formed to help people in an emergency situation where they were in desperate need right now of money, and they didn't have what they needed. And we have helped hundreds of people in the last 45 years now, where their house burned down and they needed a hotel room, and their credit cards were in the house. We've helped supply the first grant we ever did in that foundation, and I say we, I'm not on the board, my sister's the president of it, and we have a board that decides on these grants. We helped buy a service dog for her son who had very serious needs. I think he was 8 years old, something like that. These are people that have real needs today. And I can go on and on and on. Amazing stories of people that are in trouble right this minute. And we turn checks, Dermot, in that foundation in 24 to 48 hours. I mean, we can literally get a vote of the board of directors. A grant comes in electronically. There's that technology again. It comes in electronically, and the foundation votes on it. And then if it's passed, they can turn a check in 24, 48 hours, and we deliver it to the people in need.
That's awesome.
And, I don't know. I just wanted to bring that out because you talked about point of life. I'm at the point of life where my wife and I are very blessed, and we are able to help other people. And that was one of the things that my sister Jan and I, who've been partners for many, many years, wanted to do for our community. Back to that mission statement again.
Yeah, it's all on there.
Sorry to ramble about that.
No, I think it's a great segue. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go and help a few people right now in a few minutes by answering some questions. But if I can say something to you, number one is you have a tremendous legacy. The giving is a tremendous legacy of impacting your community. But I think the biggest compliment you could have, or any of us could have, is the fact that our kids or our family members want to work in the business because they're so inspired by it. And you've done that, my friend. And that could be a whole other conversation. But I would say that's as big a testimony that I could say to people here about you, is that your kids, your family members have gone, I want to be in this with you. And that's the best legacy of all. So, listen.
So since you brought that up, I know you want to get to Q&A, but I got to tell you that 6 years ago, I had 27 people reporting to me.
Oof.
It was awful. Today, I have one.
Well done.
And that one is Eric Fite, my son. He's Chief Operating Officer, and between him and 8 other people, especially Ashley Conlon, our General Sales Manager, and our District Managers, just truly amazing what those people are doing, better than I could ever do. Let me make that really clear. And so I'm very proud of Eric. And my daughter Deanne's one of our regional sales managers, just as of, I think, June of this last year. So she's moving into the leadership role as well. So thanks for mentioning my family, because they're very important to us.
No, that's the fruit of the labor, and it's a powerhouse team. We're
ready for another 80 years. That's the point.
Let's do it. Well, listen, thanks so much for this. Let's do this. John, maybe we can answer some questions We got about 10 or 15 minutes left. Let's get as many as we can answered. So back to you.
Well, we're going to jump right into the questions, but I would be remiss not to say what an incredible, insightful conversation I just listened to. You two were terrific. And Jim, someday, hopefully before we all get to Washington for the CEO exchange in September, I'd love to figure out how you got from 27 direct reports down to 1. And Eric must be one incredible businessman. So congratulations on that. Let's get to some of the questions. The first question that's come across is that's come across quite a bit actually is what's the best way to keep morale up and lead in a difficult marketplace like we're in today?
Oh, I didn't know this was difficult. We're having fun here. Difficult, John, is where you have 40 listings in one block and you have one buyer that might come by in the next 3 years. When you have anniversary dates on listings, that's a tough market. So, reality is you stay in front of your people. You just stay in front of them. You have your leadership stay in front of your people. You bring them things they need to have today. And in our world, that's multiple offers. We as soon as those multiple offers started hitting again, we've been through periods where we've had, that seller's market. But, we have podcasts. It's not a podcast. They're recordings of how to handle multiple offers in this market we find ourselves in. 24/7, our people can go to our internet site and watch expert panels, our top agents, and how they line up those 40, 50 offers, put them on a spreadsheet. That's real nuts and bolts kind of stuff. If somebody's never done it, they don't know how to do it, and they'll mess it up pretty much every time. So I think communication, giving our people what they need to be productive in this market, whether that's technology or support, the questions and answers, being able to answer their questions quickly. They don't need an answer on a contract when it's 7 o'clock at night tomorrow afternoon at 3. They need an answer tonight at 7:15. And, being available to our people is critical. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Dermot, would you like to tackle that a little bit too?
The only thing I would say from a coaching standpoint is, I don't know about you, John, but listening to Jim this morning has raised my morale.
Yeah.
And so as a leader, you cannot possibly raise somebody else's morale if yours is not up, if you're not inspired. So for me, it's like, okay, if I read, if I study, if I think, if I take Jim's formula on those things that inspire me, those things I'm hopeful for, I'm paying attention, I get a time to think about what is going well. Something is going well. We talked about it before the call. Jim said, well, I woke up this morning, bingo, great start. But you cannot possibly raise somebody else's morale if yours is not up as the leader. And so I would just say, take time to go, what are you fired up about? What are you excited about? What's true? What's going well? Sure, there's things going wrong. There always will be. But you cannot lead anybody else, and you can't raise anybody else's morale if yours isn't in a good spot. So that's the only thing I would say. He starts with you.
Great addition. Before I get to the next question, everyone that's on this today, I want you to write these words down because it came right from Jim, and I think they're wonderful. Dermot has just repeated them. Read, study, think. Read, study, think every day. Think about that. Don't you think that'll help improve you? Of course it will. So with that, let's go to the next question, which is, what's the true role of a leader? What structure is needed to balance the need to operate a business versus being a leader?
I don't think I was prepped for that one. Well, it's funny. I teach our new agents one of the classes. We have a 6-week training program we put them through, and I'm on week 5. And I expressed to them, that's a realtor, and there are 3. I'll make them quick. You show up, you work when you show up, and you put good stuff into your brain. Because if you put bad stuff into your brain, it doesn't matter if you show up and you work when you show up, you're going to be negative about whatever you do. So I would say, if I had to boil it down to one thing, and old song, same verse, positive mental attitude. You've just got to, when everybody else is down, you got to be up. I'm reminded of a meeting I was in. We have a quarterly EOS meeting and an annual EOS meeting. I'll tell you about that if you want to know. But anyway, we were in our annual, and we were talking about our competition, and we were talking about what's going on in the market, and we were talking about us. And finally, I guess I'd had enough, and I finally said to the team, we are Century 21 Judge Fite Company. Our core values are what they are. We are not going to be those other people that we're sitting here talking about today. We're going to be us.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to carry to the marketplace the best world-class service that we can possibly bring and afford to our agents, to our staff, and to our clients. It was kind of funny because we'd been through this for 15, 20, 30 minutes debating everybody else and what they were doing. And all of a sudden, the leadership team came together and they were reminded, that's right. That's who we are. We don't have to be them. We're going to be us.
Right. Yep. That's, I think you're bang on. And I think that's what comes to my mind. As a leader, you got to know what you're good at. Be okay. Be great with who you are. Be excited with who you are. I can tell you this, Jim Fite is a phenomenal leader, but if I asked him what he's not good at, I guarantee he can rattle it off, and I guarantee he doesn't touch it. You've got to be curious about yourself. What am I good at? What am I strong at? One of the reasons we bring up, and I ask the question about what leader do you admire, is because we do need a role model. We need something that it's a reflection. It's like, I admire that guy, his communication, his humor, his strength, his humility. That's what, they were the attributes that you communicated. Normally you're going to identify those things, and 9 times out of 10, they're the things you are. And so what is the role? Own your lane. As an organization, you said, this is who we are. This is what we value. Here's what's going to happen in the community. Here's the outcomes we're going to achieve. But as a leader, it's like, I'm really good at this and I'm going to own that lane. I'm really good at this. I'm going to become better at it. I'm going to invest in it. And if you're not sure of what you're good at or bad at, ask the team and people around you who love you, know you, care about you, and you can trust. I guarantee you they'll be able to tell you, you're really good at this, and we really wish you didn't communicate or show up for this meeting because you're not good. So I think those two things go together. As an organization, we know who we are. As an individual, I know what I'm good at as the CEO of this company. We're bringing out a product later on this year called Real Strengths. It's going to be out next month. And the goal of it is to help people really go through a process to identify what they're strong at, their strengths are when it comes to selling, serving, communicating. And own them and say, that's me, let's go to work. So I know I added probably way too much on there, Jim.
No,
I think
that's spot on. Now let me, you one of the things you mentioned, both of you did, are people you admire. And a person you mentioned, Jim, too, is I'll mention Mike Meadler and the great job he's doing within Century 21 and keeping that phenomenal relationship with Easter Seals, because as you pointed out, you are making a difference. But you also mentioned Ronald Reagan. And before I get to the next question, you got to remember one of the great comments from Ronald Reagan was, I've left orders to be awakened at any time in the case of a national emergency, even if I'm in a cabinet meeting. Okay. That's the type of, Ronald Reagan used humor to help motivate and instill his beliefs into others around him who wanted to personify both himself and the ideals he stood for. Let's talk about what you do as far as what are some of the best practices to motivate your sales agents?
Well, how long do we have? So we encourage them to join the Buffini organization and and take all their courses and attend masterminds in August and or any other event that they have coming to town. That's one thing, but we also have other national trainers, Dermot, that we do encourage them to participate in. Everybody has something to give, and if we can learn one thing from everybody, then we're going to make more sales and we're going to help more people. So definitely we've got that angle, but we had a sales rally, our first, John, our first sales rally ever on the 6th day of January. Now we've had sales rallies like in September and October and starting off the last quarter of the year, right? But we've never started out one in January, and we said back in the planning sessions, we need to do something through this COVID mess to get our people together, to get them excited about being together, and communicate, educate, and recognize. Now, that's over and above our awards function that we'll have in March. So we've always had a big awards function. Last 2 years we haven't, but the reality is we've got it planned for March, and we said if you'll come to this January function, this rally, guess what? Jim won't speak at the awards function. And I think that really motivated them to come to the January rally where I gave the state of the company and a lot of other people. We kicked off to the races contest, and you'll love this, Dermot. We had three of our district managers do a horse race that was called from the stage around this ballroom. And where these people find this stuff? They were dressed in jockey uniforms with this horse, in the middle of them. And I mean, if you could have, well, we have tape, we have video on the whole thing, but it was so fun. And I'll tell you, we're doing this off to the races contest. It is the best contest that has been kicked off in our company ever. And we've tried them all, gentlemen. We've tried everything we could. But you know what we did? We asked a brand new manager and a fairly new assistant manager to lead them. Figure out a contest for us. And we have race tracks up in all of our offices. We have teams that they separated up before, they were assigned a team. They had to decorate their horses. I'm not going to repeat some of the names of the horses that they came up with. This is a live broadcast, and I wouldn't do that. But I mean, it has been so much fun, and we report on it every week in our Let's Talk Real Estate meetings, on and on. Anyway, so there's a couple of things, a rally and off to the races we did this year.
Yeah. Now, what I love about what you just said is, like, as the leader, your job is to create the environment for that to happen. And when you invite people into it, they come up, they go, oh, let's get involved. They blow it up, right? I think motivation is fantastic. It's necessary. I agree with you, Jim. It's like, take training classes, find out your cup of tea, get involved. There's loads of things to do. If I would say, though, as a leader, motivation is good, inspiration's better. And so you don't have to know, it's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to ask questions and say, Jim, what inspires you? What excites you? What would you tell in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? Now you might have somebody's going through a bad point in their life, in a bad season. We all do. And they go, there's nothing good going on. Great. I get it. But tell me about a time in the past when you've been motivated, you've been inspired. And so the energy should be, it propels you forward. It gives you energy. It motivates you. The opposite of that, it will suck the life out of you. It will steal your energy. And so just
I wish I had thought of that, Dermot.
No, it goes together. It's like, it goes together. Zig Ziglar said that motivation's like bathing. You have to do it daily. Mm-hmm. Jim Rohn said, if you take an idiot and you motivate him, all you've got is a motivated idiot.
Right.
So there's lots of great quotes about it, but with motivation is the energy, as you said, like, you create the environment there for your team to go, like, let's have at it. Let's make it something. And you watch that energy happening. But at the end of the day, my motivation, my inspiration, it starts with me. What I try and do is ask my team, it's like, what are you excited about right now? What would excite you in the future? What's the next couple of years look like for you? And so ask them. You don't have to be, I don't have to be the answer man. You don't have to be, just facilitate a conversation. And then remind them, you told me this. You told me this inspired you. John, you'd be excited about this. Jim, and lead them to what they want and what they're about and who they are. So.
Well, to all of the people on this broadcast, I just want to reiterate right there something from Dermot, which is phenomenal. Motivation is good, but inspiration is better. Okay, remember that as you go through your day trying to figure out how to make things better within your own organizations. But now back to a question for both of you. I'm going to make this one big question because it's come through a few times. How do you keep relevant and up to date in today's changing technological environment with all the things that are happening? And also technology is leading towards, the other question, which is leading in boom times is very easy. But with the real strong possibility of a downturn on the horizon, let's talk about leading in the prospective forecast of a downturning market.
You got two separate questions there, and
Yes.
I'm sure they're related, but let me just make it real quick. We're large enough, thank goodness, to have an IT department, and they are always looking at new technologies that we can bring to our people. We have task forces within the company. We do our best to have leadership. The IT comes up with something, they bring leadership in, they bring agents in, and then we decide yes or no, which is the best, which can we afford, what we can't afford, and so forth. So, we have a process. It's that thinking time before we actually buy something and implement it. And of course, we implement it and it never goes like you expect it to. Now, don't get that. That's a whole nother program, Dermot, on another day.
It works when it works.
Then, my sister Jan and I have led our company through 5 recessions. And we had 17, 18% interest rates back in the late 70s, early 80s. We had the Great Recession, this last Great Recession, but we had the recession of 82 to 90. Or 86 to 92, and then we had the 2.5-month recession, which was COVID last year, and I probably left one out. So we've been through 5 of them. And how did we get through 5 of them? By achieving a profit when the good times hit and putting money in the bank. And then once it hit, we go into recession mode. I mean, we literally, March the 16th of 2 years ago, 2020, we went into recession mode. Our leadership team met in a room. We got our financials out and we started looking at every penny, because we get fat, dumb, and happy, just like the Buffini Company probably never does, or RISMedia never does. But we have to continually check our expenses, put them in check, and watch those numbers. And we went in recession mode literally March 16th of 2020. And luckily, we cut a lot of money off of our budget. And then when it came back in June, we were very happy. Let's just say it that way. We put that money in the bank.
Yep, I love that. What you're talking about is principles, right? I mean, my mentor used to say, he was an old military guy, he'd say, plan and prepare in peacetime, bleed less in war. Yeah. Is there going to be something around the corner? Yes, but if you're living on a budget right now, if you know the activities that are going to produce a fruit in your business, you own them. Technology is the purpose of technology is just to help you achieve your goals. That's it. It's to make life simple. We built a technology. We have no right building a technology. We built one of the best CRMs we don't even really talk about it too much because it's not really a CRM. The goal of the technology is to help our clients generate referrals and close sales. The number one thing we do is make sure that we're reinforcing those principles, because we know that'll keep it simple for our clients to utilize. Anytime we have a plug-in or a company wants to partner with us, we go, will it help them generate referrals and close deals? Will they be able to use it? Can we support it? We're going to do a few things extremely well. Keep it simple. So that's what we've done with our CRM. And now it's like we have all other industries coming, all over the world are coming to use it because it's simple. You said something that I think applies. I asked you, what do you look for in a leader? You went to your core values. And then I went, oh, so you look for somebody with honesty and integrity who wants to do the right thing, somebody who's dedicated to the clients, the professions, and the community. They want to provide world-class service. They have a desire to do so. Their commitment to being goal-focused and results-driven, and their discipline to do a job at its best. That's the principles that you make your decision by. And the technology should support those things. People should support those things. Activities should support those things. And is the poop going to hit the fan? Jim Fite just told you, guaranteed. But will you be prepared? And now is the time you prepare. And then, as Jim said, when you work your way through it and you put yourself on a budget and things are good again, guess what? You get the benefit of the happy market to do great stuff with, which Jim just said, give some of it away. So I know that's a long answer, but yeah, I got excited by you, Jim.
Yeah,
it's been fun.
You both have had great answers. Now, as we get towards the end of our broadcast, there's another question that leads into what you just both discussed. How do you manage millennials and their expectations today without compromising the business needs and objectives of today and going forward?
My response is they're people.
Yeah.
How do you manage people? You know, we were all millennials at one time. We just weren't named that. We were all young. We all thought we were going to raise the world up, and it was, you know, it's all about us and nobody else, and all those things that we peg them with. And by the way, the Generation Ys had their issues, and X's and we baby boomers had our issues, and so they're people. And you go, you know, you can study the 4 personality styles. Well, that's all great, but you know, we all come from somewhere. Mr. Buffini is different than I am because he was raised in Ireland. I'm glad I'm different than he is because I was raised in the great state of Texas. You know, it just doesn't get any better than that. So we're all different. We all come with our set of beliefs and thoughts and goals and dreams. How can we take the individual and serve them to help them serve themselves?
Yeah, no, it's well said.
Very well said.
Well said. I think you're right. And I think, you know, what we do is, because we have a bunch of them, we coach a bunch of millennials, we hire a bunch of millennials, and you're right, they're just people. We were all one once, right? But I will tell you, I've learned a lot from millennials, and then the order of how you help them. So for instance, you know, they have witnessed the people go ahead of them and go, why would I do that and pursue the American dream where I end up divorced? Yeah, sure, I end up with a lot of money, but no life. My health declines, my relationships with my kids, my parents didn't get to my games. Why would I do that? I mean, that's a great perspective. So they have aspirations. They have things that I want to find my meaning. I want to belong to something. Fantastic. The way you get there, I would recommend you read, study, you think, and you work your butt off in the pursuit of that. The older generation, if you're just working your butt off because we're designed to be tough and work hard and keep your nose down and don't be more than you should be, you're going to have a grind and you're going to burn out because you're not going to have something to aim for. So when we coach the older generation, we're like, hey, you need to build in a bit of life here, a bit of fun, a bit of living. Hey, you know what? You've got the work ethic. You don't have the life ethic down. The younger crew, you've got the philosophy, but you got to go to work. And so it's the same thing. It's just a different order. That's what I've found. And I think both is inspiring. I think we need the millennials and the millennials need us, and the best of the both worlds will create a good world.
Okay, well, fellas, that was absolutely terrific. And, you know, special tribute to both of you. And Jim, we share an admiration about Ronald Reagan. So I'll leave you with the following. One of my favorite statements from the former president was, we can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. And I think both of you personify that. And I thank you for being part of this broadcast. And also, I'd like to thank Dermot especially, because having Dermot enables us to get such incredible guests like we just had with Jim on today. So mark your calendars for May 18th, 10 a.m. Pacific time for the next edition of Lessons in Leadership with Dermot. And he's going to bring us another incredible guest at that time. And today, to both of you, thank you for your wonderful insight. I look forward to seeing both of you in person soon, hopefully sooner than September in Washington, but I'll see you both then. Thank you very much for everything you do for the industry.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Jim. Great job. Appreciate it.
Thank you all. Thanks, Dermot and John. Appreciate y'all.
God bless. Bye-bye.